It's like an echo from Islay. Welcome to another episode of Erik Wait Whiskey Studies, and in this video I'm going to do a review of the Ledaig 10-year-old single malt Scotch whiskey. This is from the Isle of Mull. But before I get into this, here are my notes. The Ledaig 10-year-old single malt Scotch whiskey is from Tobermory Distillery on the Isle of Mull in the Hebridean Islands, neighboring Islay, Jura, and Arran. It's pronounced Ledaig by some Scots and Ledaig by others, but I've noticed it depends on where they're from in Scotland. The name means safe haven in Gaelic. It's 100% malted barley, peated at 37 parts per million. It is aged for a minimum of 10 years in ex-bourbon casks. It is non-chill filtered and, as much as I can tell, natural color, bottled at 46.3% alcohol by volume, and sells for about $57 in my neighborhood. Alrighty, of all the non-Islay peated whiskeys that I have tried thus far, this is the closest to being like something from Islay. If I was smelling and tasting this blind, I would definitely think it was from Islay. Now, as to which distillery it is most like, that's up for debate. In terms of the smoke, ash, a little bit of that briny medicinal note, it reminds me of more a level of Freud. In terms of the fruit character, it reminds me a little bit more of an Ardbeg. So it's got like grilled fruits. It's got definitely some honey note in there, toffee, chocolate, slight briny note, a little bit of the medicinal iodine note. But the smoke and the peat is interwoven really well. It's somewhere between grilled fruits and stone fruit, canned fruits. So it has a real juiciness there, and it smells sweet on the nose. A little bit of spice. It's definitely some vanilla and caramels on the back end. A little bit, I said, a little herbal note and a little bit of ginger, but these are very subtle notes. All right, on the palate. Up front, it is sweet. Transitions into being a little bit more dry in the mid palate, and definitely dry into the finish. Up front, you get these real nice juicy notes. Grilled stone fruits, apples, peach. Then a little bit of spice kicks in, a little bit of ginger. That toffee notes kick in. A little bit of dried black fruit notes, which I wouldn't expect from a bourbon cask. Caramels and vanilla, and just a slight nuttiness and saltiness on the back end. And it finishes a little bit more on the ashy side. So think of a campfire. It's like a fire that's not quite gone out, but just about to go out. I like the development. I like the transitions. I like the fruit up front. A little bit slightly savory, a little bit nutty, and dryness on the back end. Saltiness, iodine note, medicinal note. It's quite a complex whiskey. It's got a lot of nice transitions, nice complexity to it. The finish is moderate. It's not a real long finish, and it's mostly sort of a dry, ashy finish. Most of these sort of sweet, juicy fruit notes are going to be towards the front. I like the texture. It's a moderate medium in terms of mouthfeel. So it has a decent amount of depth and breadth. This is a really fantastic whiskey. And it is a close competitor to one of my favorite distilleries on Islay, which would be Ardbeg. You know, if I didn't know better, I would swear that it has a little bit of time in a sherry cask. And as I'm looking at the bottle, I look at some other bottles online, look at some of the other bottles other people are reviewing from. This is a little darker than a lot of other bottles. In fact, from the pictures that I'm using in this video of the bottle, if I didn't know about either, they have added a little bit of E150 to get to that kind of color, or it's picking up something off a sherry cask. It just, I'm not a strong sherry cask, but just, it seems to me just a little bit of sherry cask might have gotten in there. But could be completely wrong. But it just seems to have like this slight sherry coat cask. It doesn't have like a lot of, like dried figs, dates, and raisins. Not that so much, but it seems like it just had a little bit. So I'm curious about the casking, because I've had the Ledaig 10 before, but it was from a smaller bottle, and that was definitely a much lighter color. The honey note is really, really nice. So if you have more information about the Ledaig 10, why this might be a slightly different color, the distillery doesn't have diddly in terms of notes. And searching around online and watching fellow whiskey tubers and trying to get notes online and different reviewers and stuff, there's not complete agreement on everything. I find different notes here and there about this particular whiskey, but if you have a more reliable source, let me know and put it in the comments section down below. Get back to the quality of the whiskey, an absolutely fantastic whiskey. I'm going to give this a solid 90 points. What would it take to go a little bit higher? I think it's not finish. If the finish had a little bit more complexity, a lot more development, and didn't just sort of go mostly to sort of a dry ashiness, I would be willing to go a higher point. But it's got enough complexity, layers, and changes from front to the middle into the finish to get me to that 90 points. An absolutely fantastic whiskey. Alrighty, I'm gonna go head to head in another video with this and another bottle from Ardbeg, but I'm gonna do that in a live stream shortly after I post this video. All right, if you like watching my videos, but you've not yet subscribed, I'm asked that you subscribe, ring the bell to be notified when I go live or post a new video. And if you are one of my patrons, I want to thank you very much. All right, until next time, cheers.